guys, welcome back. In this video we are looking at Shine by Collective Soul. This song is in drop D tuning, but to match the audio they're actually in drop D a half step lower, so like drop C sharp tuning, if you will. So what that means is drop your 6th string to D, right? Go down from E to D, and then tune everything a half step lower. If you want to match the audio, I'm in drop D right now, so I'm not matching the audio. Great thing about these songs that are a half step off or a whole step off, usually on YouTube there is somebody has posted that audio in standard tuning, so you don't have to worry about going back and forth between the different songs that you're learning, and there is one for Collective Soul. So in that instance, if you use that, all you have to do is drop to the E string 6 to D. And the purpose of why they're in that drop C sharp tuning, it might be for vocals, it might be because they thought it gave the riff a better sound, tone wise, maybe it was a deeper growl. I'm using a fuzz setting, I think that's what they're using on the recording. Could be a multitude of reasons, but make it easy on yourself so you don't have to tune up and down, because every time you tune down a half step or back up, your guitar always kind of strings react differently, and it goes in and out of tune more frequently. All right, so we really only have just a few riffs to learn here. There is a little bit of trickery to it, which are going to be great things for you to learn. And the timing is a little odd, so I'm not going to talk about the timing necessarily in terms of beat counts. I'm just going to play it for you so you can hear it. I think that's where we're always going regardless, is to rely on the ear. And to count this stuff out, you can certainly do it, and to be able to analyze the rhythm helps, but if that's not traditionally how you approach things, it's going to feel very difficult to do it that way. So it's just going to be looking for patterns and sequences which exist within the rhythm, but it doesn't follow this like exact symmetrical 4-count feel. Well, there's 4 beats in each measure, but it doesn't break that measure up symmetrically with each riff. So just something to be aware of as you learn this. Just rely on the ear. Just listen to yourself, listen to the audio, play along with the audio, slow it down, which is what we're going to be doing here. So this the first riff that we hear, it's just a couple strings. I'm going to play it without my open string 4, and just so we can get I recommend you learn it this way initially, because we're going to have to be dealing with some palm muting in the right hand, and it's easy for that to kind of sidetrack our learning of the riff. So I'm going to be on frets 9, 11, 7, that's the majority of it, and then 14. So it sounds something like this. I recommend getting that down first, just so you're hearing the timing and listening to yourself in terms of those main notes of the riff and not getting too caught up in the bass notes. We'll add that in a second. So a couple more times. Fret number wise, 9, 11, 11, sorry, 9, 11, 11, 9, 7, 7, 7, 9, 11, 11, 14, 7, 9, 11, and at the start of each of those measures, using a hammer on there with fingers 1 and 3. Right, from 9 to 11, fingers 1 and 3 there. And then the fingers that I'm using, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, you can mix it up, but whatever you use, stay consistent. I like 1, 3, 3. That leaves my first finger free to think about getting into the next riff. Okay, so now we add this bass note in. I'm going to do it just everything ringing out, and not going to worry about any palm muting here, okay? So just giving less for the right hand to think about. Again. Now that's going to cover up the sound of the riff a little bit. Obviously it's not ideally what we want, but I think the main thing to focus on here is making sure that these notes are coming out clearly. We can hear those. That we're not letting that bass note cover things up, and it's just constant momentum, right? You don't have to play every single bass note that they play. It's nice to repeat what you're hearing, but really the main idea are the notes on string 3 and not that bass note. It's just kind of a little sound effect, right? So let me put that together slowly with the palm mutes, and then I'll talk about how to get that palm mute going. We'll go through this a couple times. So whatever you do, develop a plan, right? If you want to just work on following this, great. Hopefully you can hear the palm muted note. Time like that. I think that was a little bit clearer than the other one. Okay, so now a little note on the right hand. All down strumming, whether you're palm muting or not. Practice, this is going to be good practice for directing your pick to what string you want. When you want to get through both strings, do it deliberately. Get those strings ringing out, right? Push that pick, force the pick with that thumb, boom, straight through those strings. So you make sure you get to the third string, because you don't want to be trying to hear the third string and only going through the fourth string. That's going to really mess with your sense of what that riff is, and whether it's coming out correctly or not. So real small motions, and then just remember that, for palm mute, use the heel of the hand. You line up with the saddle and where the vibration of the strings stop, and you're going to get a little reverberation there. If you go too far this way, it's completely muted. If you go too far this way, it's ringing out, right? So we're looking for that kind of muffled sound, but with with a little bit of reverberation. But you want to make sure that you're not taking your hand off. All this needs to be relaxed and just sitting on the guitar, so you can just mostly use that wrist and fingers to pluck through strings 4 and 3 and just stay in position. You don't want to be coming off and then having to go back and find it. So let me just do a couple notes here. Here I'm off, and here I'm on. Look at the subtlety of movement, right? You see me flicking the wrist and getting that pick through the strings. Right? So I'm always in contact with the guitar somehow, staying very close to those strings that I want. I don't want to catch these other strings accidentally, and that has everything to do with how you're visualizing things in your mind, in your mind's eye, and just staying relaxed. Right? Once you get tense and or going too fast, then things will start to fall apart, and it's hard to know what what's getting in the way. That's what I see with most people, just playing too fast, jumping into it too quick, thinking they're going to be able to do it immediately, and then not really knowing where the problem is. So that's why breaking right and left hand stuff down separately at the beginning helps a lot. So let me do that super slow, just so I can really emphasize and get you guys to watch my right hand here. But anyways, so take your time with that one. Then we jump down here. Seems to be a lot of discrepancy about what to play on this part, just because they have at least 2 guitars going, if not 3. And I just, for me, chose what I think sounds best and represents the overall sound through one guitar. So I'm just going to have a C5 power chord here at string 5 fret 3 and string 4 fret 5. And this is going to be the same thing where we're playing this power chord, and then don't lift both fingers off, only lift your index slightly to go to the open string palm muted bass. Okay, so it sounds like this. It's a little bit of an odd riff in terms of the timing. Just where these notes land. So like I said, look for patterns, look for sequences. I'm just going to play this several times with both of these power chords, and just do it slowly and speed it up a little bit so you guys can really rely on your ears. And then it's going to be the same thing on string 4 fret 5 and string 3 fret 7, little power chord shape there, G power chord, with string 4 as the palm muted bass. Here it was string 5 as the palm muted bass. Here it's string 4 as the palm muted bass. Same process in the right hand, right? Left hand is staying stationary, just lifting the index finger slightly and then going back on. Very small movements, coordinating these hands. Remember, you make big movements with the left, the right is probably going to follow suit, and vice versa. So do the opposite, move small, and the other one will pick up on that. All right, so through the whole thing, we'll do a few different speeds here. The second part of the main riff. A little bit faster. So one thing that really helps is singing it, right? Just knowing what you're trying to hear. Singing it, you're replicating the rhythm that, we can do a lot with our vocal cords very easily, as opposed to putting it on the guitar. That can always feel like more of an unnatural challenge because we don't really think about using our vocal cords, right? And singing it means that you can hear it. If you can hear it, then you'll be able to play it. Very important thing to remember. I know I was very opposed to singing stuff initially when I was going through school, and just because I can't sing really, but it's not a matter of being able to sing well. We're not trying to sing operatic music. It's just basically the connection between the ear and the vocal cords, and just how internalized that makes everything. And then it's easier to put it on an extension of you, such as the guitar. So, and I will also admit for that riff, it's hard for me to play that slow. It's one of those things that if you play it slow, it's like you kind of lose the groove. And then when you play it fast, it just kind of clicks. You have to ease your way into that. Don't take that to mean that you should be playing it fast, but just try different speeds, and then I think once you're hearing it, you'll feel it easy to grasp it at a faster tempo, or a tempo where it kind of sticks together. All right, now we jump to the low growly part here with strings 6, 5, and 4, our low end power chords here. I tend to use a pull off with the 3rd fret here, so let me show you what I mean. That right there, I like the pull off. I like how it flows. You don't have to do it though. That was without. So it's just open, 6, 5, and 4, 3rd fret, 6, 5, and 4, 5th fret, string 6, 5, and 4, 6th fret, string 6, 5, and 4. So I'm just going to play that. I'm using finger 1 to bar across those. That's most commonly what will happen with these drop D power chords. Yeah, just play through it a few times so you guys can play along. All down strums. A little bit faster. To tempo. You could use finger 1 for the whole thing. You could use fingers 1 and 2, 1 and 3, whatever. You know, use strong fingers. That it's going to be kind of inconsequential. I mean, certainly use finger 1 somewhere in there. I wouldn't recommend like holding a fixed position and using 1, 3, and 4 or something like that. That would be awkward. So that was the pre-chorus. That brings us to the chorus. A lot of the same material in the chorus, just a different rhythm, different strum pattern. But we're going to be with these drop D power chords again. Fret 10, string 6, 5, 4. Fret 5, string 6, 5, 4. And open. So I'm just going to play through it full speed just so you can hear it, isolated away from everything else. And then I'll slow it down and call out strum directions. So here we go. This part is really distorted and there's a lot going on in the audio, so it may not be completely clear, you know, to hear that inside of the original recording. But as long as it's fitting within the 4 beats and it's something that's comfortable, you know, you can make a lot of things fit here, I guess is the point. But I'm just going to give you one recipe and you do with it what you want. So starting on 10, down, 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 and on the up strum, I slide, shift over to 5. Okay? So 10, 10, 10, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, oh. Up, one more time. A little bit faster. And a couple times full speed. I just like doing that. A lot of fun. All right, so I think that's it, guys. 3 riffs. Remember, use your ears. I know that sounds silly to say, but we all forget to do that because it's just one of those basic fundamental things that we should be doing in the first place, and we're probably just more heavily relying on vision than anything else. And yeah, it's not really the way music works. It is a part, it is a component of playing, and we have to take advantage of that. But the ear is always going to be, listening is always going to be the strongest sense for sure. So have fun. Let me know if you have any questions. See you in the next video. Thanks a lot.